Have you seen or heard about the new executive order that targets homelessness here in America?
It's time to speak up. Donald Trump has signed an executive order today that will have the effect of taking homeless people off the streets and sending them to be locked up for we don't know how long. The executive order directs the Department of Justice to do sweeps of homeless people. They're trying to end vagrancy. And it says that these people are to be taken to civil commitment facilities, mental health facilities, psychiatric facilities. Oh, but here's the thing. If there are no beds available, then the people can be taken to jail or detention centers. Here's the thing. There are no beds. First of all, it would be bad enough. We are saying that if you're homeless, you must have a mental illness and you need to be locked up. That's horrific in and of itself. But then the second part, or they can be taken to jail if there are no beds. There are no beds. I have done criminal law for almost 30 years, and there are no beds. At least in Texas, there aren't, because I have clients right now who have been charged with offenses and are sitting in jail and have been found incompetent to stand trial. When that happens, they have to go to a mental health facility to become competent, and then they're sent back to stand trial. There are no beds. I have had clients wait months and years. I've had a man wait 832 days in jail, incompetent, because there wasn't a bed available yet to send him to become competent. There are no beds. There are no beds in Texas because I have people waiting in the county jail right now for an available bed. So what does that mean? That means that everybody, at least in Texas, who gets rounded up will have to go to a jail or a detention center. But what is the method by which they are released? Because the order sure doesn't tell us. It doesn't tell us how these people then get out. How? If they get a home, how are they going to get a home when they're in jail? This, in essence, is going to make homelessness a crime where people get held indefinitely. Go look at it. It's on the government website. You can go read the executive order for yourself. This is authoritarianism. Full stop.
Well, here we go. Okay, so in the U.S. currently, folks, there are approximately 771,000 people who are considered as homeless. Either they consider themselves as homeless, or the state has put them into a bracket which says they do not have permanent housing. Today, Donald Trump signed an executive order that makes homelessness illegal in the United States. And those 771,000 people I just mentioned have just become criminals. Folks, the source for this is ABC News. It gets worse every day.
Okay, so let me get this straight. We're making homelessness, drug addiction, mental illness illegal and committing people, but we don't have any institutions really anymore. We shut most of those down. Most of the beds in rehab facilities and mental health facilities are pretty full. There's not space for all those people. But you know what they do know how to do now is create camps really cheaply with super inhumane conditions, and say they cost way more. So they get to disappear millions of dollars. And maybe some people will just disappear. No one's gonna miss homeless drug addicts. They're already basically disappeared. Their families won't even notice. They'll just assume they OD'd or something. And if they're forcibly institutionalized, then they don't have rights anymore. They can't even take us to court. They're gonna like having their cleaner streets. No one's gonna miss them anyway. Oh man, and if we wanted to entrap someone, it's not that hard to make them a homeless drug addict and then just kidnap them off the street. And everyone will think they just had some mental health break and got on drugs.
Trump just signed a truly terrifying executive order to bring back forced institutionalization. Yep, you heard that right. It's truly terrifying and no one is talking about it. I'm Eliza Orland's career public defender for 15 years in Manhattan, and we have to talk about the executive order that they're calling ending crime and disorder on America's streets. This order specifically targets unhoused people, people with mental illnesses, and people who use drugs. It calls the hundreds of thousands of people experiencing homelessness on a single night endemic vagrancy and frames them as threats to public safety. Trump is using fear to justify locking them away under what he calls civil commitment, aka forced confinement. Here's what the order actually does. First, it directs the Attorney General to overturn federal and state court decisions that protect people from involuntary confinement, essentially gutting due process rights that took decades to secure. Second, it ends housing first policies that have actually worked to reduce homelessness. Instead, it forces people to accept treatment whether they want it or not as a condition of receiving federal housing aid. Third, it prioritizes federal grants for states that enforce bans on urban camping, loitering, and squatting, aka criminalizing the simple act of existing without a shelter. Fourth, it expands civil commitment to anyone deemed a danger to themselves or others, or who cannot care for themselves. Language so vague, it could quite literally apply to anyone experiencing a crisis. This is not about safety or compassion. The order literally says the goal is to protect public safety by removing people from public view. This is about control, criminalization, and disappearing poverty, not solving it. This is mass incarceration 2.0, only now it's dressed up in fake compassion and medical language. We've seen this before. In the era of massive state hospitals, warehousing, and forced sterilization, and we know how this ends. As a career public defender, I've seen what happens when governments use the courts to cage, confine, and criminalize instead of care.
So it's no surprise, homelessness is a really huge problem here in the United States, but you have to ask, is this the answer to it? Is having this much power over the people that are in the homelessness population the solution? What do you think? Do you think that human rights and civil liberties are at risk here? When the government is able to have this much control, who knows what exactly is going to be happening behind the scenes? You know, once these people are institutionalized, who knows what type of medication they're going to be given? Who knows what's going to be really happening behind closed doors? You really have to ask these types of questions. You have to look at what has happened in history when the governments have been able to gather up people that they don't want in society for whatever said reason, and look what happened after that. So really study history, look at these types of things. I'm really curious to know what your thoughts are on this. Do you think that this is the solution for homelessness here in America? Do you think that this will really cure the problem? Do you think that the government should have this much power to be able to do these types of things? I'm definitely concerned that this is going to be a problem. I don't think that the government should have this much power and control. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let's have a conversation about it, and I'll catch you in the next video.